Hi guys, Navrin here with another YouTube commentary from Heart of the Swarm. Haven't done a commentary in a while. Still figuring out the game, as right when the game released, it seemed like I had a pretty good grasp on things, but then things just sort of meta-gamed around and stuff started changing and strategies started changing, and it was too much for some reason. So this one's going to be a ZvT on Dare League Watcher. This is Season 2 of Heart of the Swarm. And ZvT used to be my worst matchup, and it still is, but apparently it doesn't feel right for me. Apparently I win the most with it on ZvT, and ZvP, which I thought was my best matchup, suddenly turned into my worst one. So I'm gonna be doing like a 2 commentary because I really want to do a detailed analysis of 2 really long and interesting games. Long games do not necessarily mean better games, but they definitely have the potential to be better because there are more and more variables added throughout time. So most likely longer games tend to be more analytical than shorter ones. So I'm going to do a 15 hatch. That hasn't changed. A 15 hatch, and then what I try to do is a 14 pool, because these like early Reaper builds, and I don't mean like the standard 12 racks 13 gas Reaper. I mean like those 8 like 8 supply depot, 8 barracks, and 8 gas, and like they Reaper until like someone's dead, or like they Reaper and then they drop like 2 CCs. So that's that stuff really like kills you, and I'd rather just get the pool on 14 instead of 15. I really don't want to wait. Like, I don't think that drone is worth dying over, or losing 2 or 3 more drones, or even 1 drone because of a Reaper. I don't know what pool I did actually. I think I did like 14 or 15 this game. Anyways, I also do gas. I've been having mixed feelings about gasless, as I used to always do, which carried on from Wings of Liberty. And the reason for that is, if you go gasless, you tend to float a lot of minerals. I tend to float a lot of minerals. Like even now, I was just floating 300 until I can buy that queen, and then like right now I have 250, and it's only like 3 minutes and 50 seconds in the game. Imagine if I didn't get that gas, and like it'd be even longer and even more minerals that I'd be having. So this game is really about vision. I think I sort of remember it vaguely. I think I played it around last week or something. So what this person did is open up a Rax and a Reaper, and 1 Reaper, single Reaper, and I have my Overlord here, seeing this expansion timing. I also see factory here, so that's really great. And Reapers, I really don't like microing against Reapers, as you have to build spores, and spores cost more money than building extractors. So if you want to like save your drones, then you gotta make a extractor. But you see I made a spore right here, and it's really bad. And then if they keep making Reapers and they keep sending them, you gotta cancel your spore, and then that's already lost money, and then your drone's already at like one shot away. So I don't know. I really don't like Reapers, but I still get the queens because I just like queens in general, and I am getting my ling speed. I'm not quite sure about this opening so far. I am floating quite a bit of larva, 4 larva, and I'm kind of out of money. But the thing is, I got 4 queens, and partially the reason, I think, subconsciously I was thinking that this is like a really open area, a really open map. So creep spread going to the 3rd or whatever is just really great, and apparently that's what I did. So if you haven't noticed it on the mini map already, this person took a really quick 3rd, that's 6-minute 3rd, and they placed it at the 3rd. And usually I don't expect this, as 2 Hellions sort of just ran in from here into here. I've gotten really sloppy about that, but it happens. Only 2 though, because it was really early. And Ling, one of the good things about Ling speed early, instead of gasless queen openings, is that you can really stop Hellions from doing that. So anyways, back to the 6-minute CC. This is like the most obnoxious thing. One of the most obnoxious things I've encountered. And I've encountered a lot of obnoxious things. I think I just played a ladder game like a couple hours ago where someone opened CC first into 3rd CC into Rax and Neo Planet, and they walled off their natural with their 3rd CC in a barracks. And like, I mean, if I 6-pool, then they lose, but if I do any other like sort of economic opening, then I'm behind, because I can't really bust it, because by the time I do a Baneling bust or a Roach bust, I mean, the chances of them working are greater, sure, but they can also have one bunker behind a 3rd CC in a barracks, which you're not going to break with Banelings. So this little cute wall off here I can block with the single queen, and they're just massing Hellions. So I'm going to pause here because this game is going way too fast. I don't have quite vision of this 3rd yet. I really don't. And I really don't expect them to have their 3rd this early, especially on this open map. Even if they go bio or whatever, I don't expect them to have this early 3rd. I don't even expect it. I wouldn't even check for this 3rd. I wouldn't. If I were to guess when a Terran takes a 3rd, I'd say at least like 9 minutes would be a really quick 3rd, or like 11 minutes is when they sort of have enough army to safely take their 3rd. But this person just threw down their 3rd CC at 6 minutes. I mean, that's pretty obnoxious, because I can deny it with like 2 roaches if I had them. But I didn't, because I didn't scout. And that was obviously a mistake from my part. And you can see that their 3rd CC going into a 2nd factory. So at 8 minutes and 21 seconds of the game, where some Terran all-ins with like Marauder Hellion already come at you, this person only has 1 reactor factory and another factory on the way and a barracks with no add-on. And they are just massing SCVs and stuff and an armory. So I don't know. It seems like any sort of roach bust, like any sort of like roach attacks with 8 roaches or more right at the second, which roach attacks, roach rushes can come much earlier. I could kill this person, but I didn't because I did not scout. So that's already a big mistake. It's going to put me really far behind. And these 2 queens here are just shooing away Hellions. And now I'm sending my Overlord in. So I think the mistake here, or the solution to this obvious mistake, is that you should send one of your first Overlords at 3rd base and not sort of have them scoot around. Like, this Overlord's not really doing anything. I mean, there's no gases to spot, so why not have it here? Or, you know, just something better. So I see them, and I'm like, okay, that is like the worst thing ever. And you'll see that I just go straight into like mass roach reduction. My 3rd's like 1/3 done, and theirs is already like muling. So it's pretty disgusting for me. I'm rallying roaches. I'm just like, okay, you know what? It's time to all in this person. And as you can see, the game timer, it's not gonna work at all. It's not gonna do what I expected it to do, which was end the game. So I have 4 roaches here. I'm like, this person only has Hellions, so I mean 4 roaches will do a lot of damage. And then this person just massed Hellions, so I guess, you know, not scouting and letting obnoxious builds happen is a very big mistake, and they can get away with it if you don't shut it down as soon as you see it. Sort of like anything really. So as this game goes on, they're transitioning to mech, so really early 3rd into mech, and you always hear casters and whatever saying that, oh, mech's really hard to push out, mech's really hard to grab expansions because their army's so immobile. But then all of a sudden this person 3 CCs quick and factories. So that's, I'm talking so much about this part because that's pretty much the entire basis for this game. It doesn't really matter what I do, because what I do is a response to what they do, regardless of whether I end it early because I scattered it early, or I don't end it early, or I fall behind, or whatever. So I have a roach attack. As you can see, these, I have burrow because I know that I'm going to need to regen them, and I have 1/1 melee and carapace on. But I didn't quite, when I started the melee, I didn't quite know they were going mech, so that's another problem. I didn't send this overlord in, so I didn't really scout anything, and that's another problem I have. But you can see that this concave from the Hellions, even though roaches are quote-unquote good against Hellions or Hellbats or whatever, the splash damage is going to just be a lot more than it should be. Anyways, I back off knowing that these Hellbats, when people do Hellbat drops, they like kill queens. I don't know how it happens, but it does. So regardless, this happens. And they have siege tanks, which you don't have to research siege mode anymore. And they're building a wall off. And I'm burning my roaches. My supply is much, much higher, but that's because it's roaches. And I'm sort of making some lings. I'm going like, oh crap, what if this doesn't work? Then I start to make some drones too. And this is really indecisive. I canceled that third macro hatch because I realized I really didn't have the minerals at the time. I guess I do now. So I started morphing some banelings. I have bane speed on the way, +1 range, and +2 carapace on the way. All which is great. It's a surprising thing for me, looking back on this replays. They didn't really make that many SCVs. I guess they were really scared, as their money is really, really low. I mean, they made a lot of supply depots, but that's just because they needed a wall off here. Their money is really, really low, so it's not like too bad harvester count wise. I mean, they're still like much better saturated than me. Like the income is just way skewered because mules. And this is where I just go like, okay, time to take position advantage of this map. Just spread everything out as best I can. Well, it's not best as I can, but you know. And a move. So this is what happens. Lings, roaches run forward. The banes don't have bane speed. Upgrades, I guess I could have waited for them. When you have everything on one hotkey like this, even though I didn't actually, I had them on separate hotkeys, the banes get stuck between the roaches, and they don't actually do that much. And I had to run in because tanks do a lot of damage, and still, Hellbats are really good, even without medevacs. For something that's 100 minerals, like a Zealot would have died a long time ago, but Hellbats, bro, they just fucking wreck shit up. So anyways, my upgrades are almost finished. It seems like I've crushed this. And it seems like, looking back on this now, I should have won the game. But we'll see why I didn't win the game. As I have made some questionable decisions. Oh, right, siege tanks. Going in here was a bit questionable. Going up here, obviously, was a much better decision. Because this is a supply depot wall. Like, even killing these 7 supply depots, that's like 700 minerals, and it won't supply block them maybe, but getting some SCV kills as well. But going into that situation, they pulled SCVs, so my subconscious mind just went like, oh, you want to just go in and splash it. So anyways, I kill a bunch of SCVs, and yeah, this happens. And meanwhile, I'm just floating much resource. I don't even know what's good, like what's the proper transition from here. Maybe like a muta switch or something. I sent some links up here. Maybe just it's mech, so I mean vipers. Maybe a mutalist transition. Maybe I don't know about mutalist because one Thor really just destroys everything. So maybe just like better upgrades and stuff like that. So yeah, my money floating high because I'm getting really indecisive. My drone count's actually really low. Even despite killing all those workers, I still despite killing 34 workers, I'm still behind in workers, and they have mules. So just goes to show. Anyways, they're still off 4 factories, and this game goes on. I'm ahead 30 supply, but that's because I have a bunch of roaches, speed banes, and links. And on the production tab, I'm getting +2 melee, I have +2 armor, and 1 carapace, and 1 melee as well. And I decide, okay, well, these are crappy units, and they're not going to do much in the late game. Well, that's what I was thinking at this point, obviously. That's not true, because roaches, blings, and banes, that's what you need to go against mech anyways. It's not like the next step up would be like Roach, Hydra, Viper, and like even then, like that's still roaches. That's still like crappy units. Unless you're counting like ultras or like Brewlords, or swarm hosts, but you still need supporting units for those, in which case roach, links, and banes. Banes because Hellbats. I know Hellbats are really tanky, but they're light and they're 135 health, but like they don't die, so you need to kill them. Sort of like Bio and Medevacs where they don't die. Like Marauders and Medevacs, they don't die, so even to mass lings, so you need Banelings. Sort of like that. And I'm killing some more SCVs. I don't know about this damage. Units resources lost tab, units lost resource tab, or whatever. I'm still ahead a bit, but I'm technically still ahead. 48 workers killed. I mean, against the meching Terran, if you were thinking about Wings of Liberty, like, you would think that the Terran has that many kills, because Blue Flame Hellions are up there. But instead, Siege Line is pretty good. Creep Spread is actually pretty decent, considering how much stuff was happening. Macro-wise, that is really, really bad, though. Inject-wise, I missed 1 inject so far. Still really, really low drones. And in this game, not gonna lie, I was just like really, really mad because I was like, I couldn't get this third down. I keep trying to all in this person, but they don't die, and I just keep making all in units, and then this just keeps going on. So I'm just gonna speed this up because really nothing really changes. And even though it might seem action-packed or whatever, nothing really changes. And I scout with an Overlord, and like all of a sudden 2 Thors, so like meters wouldn't do anything. And missile turrets are pretty good too. So production tab, I'm making roaches, drops, finishing my +2 melee. So I'm actually gonna be oh, I guess I don't have +2 range. That's a big mistake, I think. Especially with that many resources. So they start to push out, getting a bit more overzealous. I don't know exactly if that's a right call or not, as I think, no, if I think I made a bunch of lings and swung around back to attack this while the roaches dealt with this, or Speedbanes came and killed this, that'd be a really vulnerable force, but I did not know that quite as then. So I'm like, okay, regen. Now it's time to go attack. So the thing I learned about Overlord drops in these sort of positions where you drop, you need to actually use the Overlords to tank first, because these units, if you think about it, if I didn't have Overlord drops and all these roaches, all these things in the Overlords were on the ground, then these units, the ground army, wouldn't die that quickly. It still tanks a bunch of tank damage, but it doesn't die quickly. But it dies relatively quickly, but not as quickly as like these scrappy little small units, and not these Overlords, because these Overlords tank a lot of damage. They're 200 health. They're armored units, I think. And well, I don't know if they're armored or not, but they definitely aren't light, so they don't take as much damage from the javelin missiles, from the Thors. So I definitely could tank some shots with the Overlords, but instead I lose a bunch of ground army in Splash because of that. So as soon as the Overlords get attacked, I recommend dropping that specific Overlord. And I'm just dropping everything. And really, I didn't realize there was this giant siege line. And this, again, this concave for the Terran is really, really good against an Zerg that's just like boxed right here. So obviously I get slaughtered. But I do take out quite a bit of units. And once again, my scouting, like, obnoxious players will always do better than safe macro players in ladder. Well, yeah, not in pro gaming, but in ladder, just because they're good. And even in pro gaming, a lot of pro gamers like to do obnoxious things, like get really, really early thirds, and sometimes you can't stop them, sometimes you can and they lose, but that's what you see. So I'm attacking these rocks, I'm setting up for the late game. I'm like realizing, okay, +2 range, really, really late. I still have a layer going on. I mean, it's like 21 minutes. Like, I don't even, like, I just started my infestation pick because I've been really, really indecisive. I've been floating money into the entire game too. So I just see this planetary. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta kill it. Good thing that, you know, they're out of position. I mean, that's good for me. It's not like they're gonna be having units in this position anyways if they have to defend this entire line. So there goes that. And I'm still sitting on mass roaches. I mean, I still have like 40 supply leeway if I made some more Overlords. And I could probably make some Vipers, because Vipers are the thing you really, really need against mech. So I decide, okay, I need some Swarm Hosts, because Hellbats, I can't kill them regardless, so I need something to kill them. So I get Enduring Locust, I get my Hive, because I need Vipers. And really, I've been on less economy than my opponent the entire game, which is really, really weird. But this game is around halfway complete. It seems like this Terran just seems unbreakable, but if I look at it from an analytical perspective, drops wouldn't have done that much because there are 3 turrets here, and the rallying units from these factories can easily kill any drops. So with this one siege tank, which is really, really nicely placed, because any drop here would just, you know, be in range of the siege tank. So this front isn't very vulnerable. This is obviously not vulnerable. This spot looks a bit vulnerable, but how do I even get there, right? And everything's rallied towards there. My opponent's transitioning to Ravens, because Ravens pretty good. This looks pretty vulnerable, but that's only because it's reinforced by I have to get through this first, and this is looking really not vulnerable at all. So really, I can't really break this at this point, which people don't really consider. You should always ask yourself, can I break something easy that would make me win a lot? And I see Hunter Seeker missiles, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to do much damage with these roaches before these things anyways. So the best I can do is splash. And that was a really, really cost-inefficient trade for me. As they finally caught up in the... They actually surpassed me in the units lost tab. As this battle seems to go on, the crate spread for me is still pretty good. And I get Swarm Hosts because I really don't like Swarm Hosts, and I usually get them when I'm in a game that I'm unsure what to do, because that usually seems like a good time to get them, because I don't quite understand them yet. So transition to mass air siege tanks and Thors. I don't know if the transition to air was particularly a good transition. If I was this person, I would think first to push without air and have like one Raven to clear all the creep, and then PDD with that like one Raven, because PDD is really good, and just push out and try to kill me. But apparently they just like the turtle, so that didn't happen. But I was sitting on roaches the entire game, Roachling Bane, so I don't know, and it's really open, so it's really questionable if they can even kill me then. I also like this map because of these base locations. It seems really simple, really open, but it works, and simple things are great. So that's a problem with Ravens, because they destroy Swarm Hosts. As you can see, I loaded a Swarm Host into the Overlord. I didn't know if it would dodge it or not. Apparently it doesn't, so I lost an Overlord and a Swarm Host. So. And it does a splash damage too, which is kind of funny. So I have Roach, Swarm Host, Viper. This is like the extent of my micro skills. Like three hotkeys is like pretty much everything. And finally my opponent decides, okay, I have enough for the bank. And they're much more head than me. Clearing out creep, and they feel good to move out. And as soon as I send out Locusts, what I like to do is move them back, because I don't like them to die. And as the game goes on, we'll just see what happens. Oops, I'll just go back a bit. That was too far. That is still too far. Alright, so this army finally, I feel like, okay, at max, I can finally engage this army. I send my overlords away because I don't want to get supply blocked. And my swarm hosts are here, the locusts are coming here. This is actually a pretty tight choke, but their army is actually really, really small for some reason. I don't know why. I guess there's some Hellbats here, which they cost 2 supply for 100 minerals. I mean, it is kind of a supply sink. There's random siege tanks scattered all over. The upgrades are 3-3. So Vipers are really good. 3 blinding clouds. I think that's 1, 2, 3. Maybe that's just 2. But no, that's 3 clouds. So this battle goes on. The Vipers get shot down by Vikings. Vikings are really good against Vipers. And I didn't know that blinding cloud affects your own units, but apparently it does. But whatever. This is actually really good for me because I traded Roach Hydra and a bunch of Vipers, which I really don't like, for their Terran Mech army, and they have Banshees left. So that was really, really great for me, in my opinion. And I didn't lose my Swarm Hosts either. Swarm Hosts are really, really expensive. You shouldn't lose them. They're kind of like half a Broodlord, but with more DPS. As this game goes on, Cloak Banshees are really, really good any late game ZvT. They're just really, really cost efficient. Because when armies clash together and the units are lost on both sides, very rarely do you have units that have can kill Cloak Banshees. Like, you might be missing an Overseer, you might be missing anti-air units, or you might be missing like spores or like something. Maybe your army's out of position a bit, and then Banshees, flying units, they're quick, they do damage, and they cloak, and they're invisible. So I mean, why not, right? Banshees are really, really good. And the game sort of evens out a bit more. I take all these expansions. I'm really, really grateful they didn't send Blue Flame Hellions and like killed every single drone. But that's just the sort of risk I took. As there's another fight here, an air army of Vikings and Banshees, which aren't upgraded at all. I guess they forgot to upgrade ship weapons. What is really good against this composition is fungal growth. One fungal growth, and they're all dead. But said, Vipers, which are even more costly than Infestors, sort of all die. And I don't have a detection once again, which is really, really newbie mistake, but seems like I finally killed enough of the ground army and a lot of the Viking army as well because of Hydralisks, and mine are 3/3. So yeah. Seems like I had some Swarm Hosts here. There's a couple, there's 5. Repeatedly sieging the space, doing a bit of damage because there's only one siege tank guarding, and now there's none. And I just keep moving my army, and here's another big engagement. This time I have Infestors, Vipers, and Hydras, and Swarm Hosts, and Queens, and I can't micro this for God's sakes, like this is too hard. So I try the best I can. Blinding Cloud, I try to Fungal Growth, which is really great, and Blinding Cloud just destroys mech. Like in Wings of Liberty, nothing destroyed mech. Like nothing. Cost effectively, so Blinding Cloud is really, really good. And I don't know if it's Zerg favored, because as you see I did have Swarm Host, Hydra, Queen, Infestor, Viper. I didn't micro it perfectly. I didn't even get to transfuse a lot of the stuff, but I mean I did the best I could. And it's not like, whoa, that's really far. And it's not like they particularly microed a lot either. It's like Ravens, Hunter Seekers, A move with the Vikings, A move with the Banshees, A move with the tanks and the Hellbats. So it's not like they did anything either. So I don't know. It seems like it required more microing on my end, and I got rewarded a lot for it. So not quite sure how I feel about these things. Obviously, if they spread out their air, that'd be an entire different question. It'd be more cost effective for them, but I don't think it would have. I mean, the fungals would have been negated a bit, and the blinding clouds would have been not as effective either. But I guess that's just the they didn't spread well enough. I guess that's really the main problem, is that they didn't spread well enough. So like 3 blinding clouds really clouded everything. I think that was the thing to take away. As I started pushing here, as I know that their tank count is finally gone, or lowered at least, and I start to abduct these things. And here we go. Hunter Seekers are pretty good against Queens and Hydras. Hydras just melt for some reason. So when I was really far ahead, all of a sudden I just threw the game. And yeah, my Infestors are alive, my Overseers are alive. My Queens with full energy die. Queens with full energy dying is like the saddest thing ever. Hydras without any support are also a very sad thing, as they die really, really quickly. And all of a sudden, I have no army, and the space, they're mining. I mean, the great thing is that mules are so good that they mine out all the bases. So there's only 2 mining bases, kind of. Whereas I am still mining quite happily from my bases. Yes, I'm really just mining from 3 bases as well. But, I mean, this one's mine now because he mealed the crap out of it. So, finally I see this small army, because creep threat is really still existent for some reason, because they didn't really get to push past their half or third of the map. And I'm getting a bit more confident as this army is really, really small. It's obviously still big, but I mean, like, there's 2 aspects to this army. There's Vikings, and then there's the 3 Banshees and the Raven. which is the air component. Really, it's just the Vikings, the brunt of it, or whatever the word is. And I don't really have to fight the Vikings if I don't make air units like Vipers. But Vipers are essential versus mech, so I'll have to like suicide and get like a blinding cloud or some shit. Or I could fight the Thors and the siege tanks, which I still need blinding cloud, and the Hellbats, which are all mineral units, which Terran mech players will mass up because they just have minerals. So yeah. So I can either fight the Air Force using like Broodlord Corruptors or like Vipers and Corruptors and whatever, just air units, or I could fight the ground force, in which case the Vikings are negated. So I choose to fight the ground force, as I do have infestors, which I can spew infested Terrans, but they do have a Raven, so it's not like I can exactly burrow them and do them. And I'm also have Vipers too, to get some suicidal blinding clouds. It looks like this Terran player is finally pushing. Funny thing about this map is, once you mine out these expansions, it's not like there's any more expansions. It seems like in other maps, once you never seem to run out of expansions, but apparently in this game, we expanded so quickly, and so like we didn't really harass each other's expansion that much that we sort of mined them out really quickly. So again, the really like poor split, just one small clump here, big clump here, and what happens is, one blinding cloud and my Viper died, and that's really all I could do. The fungals just do massive amounts of damage because the surface areas are insane. And I need to keep bungling because these Vikings, I could easily kill all of them. But I realize there's this other siege line that's not going to be attacked. And I could have killed all the Vikings, but I just didn't. Supplies are finally somewhat even. And as this game goes on, Banshees again, really good units, and Fungal to like reveal them because all my overseers died because I sent them in, or the Vikings killed them. Vipers just get demolished by Vikings. That was kind of sad. Counterattack here. I'm like, okay, time to just kill the production. I don't want to play this game anymore because it's really not fun for me. I can't really deal with this cost efficiently because all my Vipers died. And my sworn hosts, I don't even know where they are. I think they're dead too. Yep, so killing all these production, all these starports are great. Hydras are really great in Heart of the Swarm because they can kill off floating Terran buildings. And finally, they return with a bunch of Hellbats, and a bunch of siege tanks. And I remember having a thought where I was like, okay, can I like send some overlords to like evacuate this? But apparently I didn't do it. So whatever, I kill a bunch of buildings, and they have still so many supply depots. It doesn't seem like it's a supply block at all. And I'm pushed back into this corner. Tanks finally come, but wow, I just lost like 200 energy there. But it seems like I actually overwhelmed this because of my infested Terrans. Even though they don't have any upgrades, they still tank a lot of damage, and they clean this all up. And suddenly, the Terran player doesn't have that many structures, production structures. Only 3 factories from the 3rd, I think. Yep. Lots of resources, and I made some new swarm hosts, and looks like both Banshees are pretty good once again. Siege tanks can clear out locusts. I denied this expansion from mining a bit, and this space is about to mine out too. I mean, it seems like they have a lot of money, which they do, but the game seems to go on for some reason. So, anywho, game goes on. I keep sticking on Roach Hydra Viper. I really don't like Swarm Host, but I still have some. And I don't really know what's going on. I keep staying on this composition. I haven't gotten a Grain Spire or an Ultralist then, but I feel like those just aren't worth it. Broodlords are so easily killed by Vikings, and Corruptors are bad against Vikings. They get destroyed by PDDs, so I'm pretty sure I made the right unit composition by not making those other units. Ultralists get destroyed by tanks too, especially in this mass. Especially if they're unsieged too. And can't exactly evacuate these swarm hosts because siege tanks can siege them. And I'm like, okay, you want just time to go kill this person. So Blinding Cloud is like the one saving grace I had. And they lost all their Vikings too because of sloppiness, as I was very sloppy this game also. And finally kill this tank count, and I'm finally like, okay, this game must be done. Like, there's no possible way this game is not won by me. I am like almost mined out on this base. This base is mined out. Every base is mined out. Red extractors, except this base. And this person is mined out as well, who dropped like 20 meals on like less than 100 mineral patches. So I finally have Roach Hydra, and I'm like, okay, you know what? In this position, I realize now that swarm hosts are good, but I don't have any swarm hosts because in these like scare scenarios, you just need like little bits of units, like little scrimmages. Locusts that renew over time are very effective, and the creep has still been pretty good this game, regardless of all the action that happened. I haven't been quite looking at the battles or looking at the counterattacks and stuff, but I've been more about composition this game and more about economy. Well, less about economy in the later stages. As I finally kill this off, I'm like, okay, this game has to be done. I mean, there's no possible way. But apparently, Hellbats cost 100 minerals, so Hellbat's pretty good. So the unit counting station, 16 Hellbats, 4 Siege Tanks, 2 Vikings, which is a lot. Against 38 Roaches, 4 Hydras, bunch of bit of Vipers, bit of Infestors. And what I also... I'm like, this fucking game, this game is like long, I hate it, I don't like this game. And what I didn't do is make some Evo chambers in the front, which a lot of people do, to just absorb some energy, but seems like I always felt like I needed minerals and gas. You'll also realize I have a lot of resources and supply block, and the reason I didn't want to make any units was intentional, because I do have a bunch of larvae. It's because I felt like once I lose this army, those overlords that I made to make more army aren't going to do anything. So I'd rather lose this army and make more and not have to waste them on the overlords, because I don't think that even if I had a bigger army with making overlords and making units, I don't think that army would have been that much more cost efficient against their composition. So, yeah. As roaches don't really have great range, and swarm hosts don't actually have great range either, so. And splash damage, and the more units you have, better splash damage is. I realize now that Broodlords would have been pretty good, but I don't have the gas for it. I don't think I even have a Spire, actually. That's kind of funny. I can see the structures. Nope, no Spire. So, I'm like, Abduct! Okay. And, Abduct on Siege Tanks actually hurt. Same with Colossus. Because they do that, like, one attack when you abduct them. So, it actually does a lot of damage. I'm realizing how big Flying 5 can't do anything. And Viper dies again. And I still have a lot of resources. And, lost some overseers, I think, so okay, another big attack. Pretty good concave from them, but I just had too much. Looking back on it, I just really sort of just took an opportunity. I think they just wanted to flow all the way here, make like a Sim City, and steal my base, but instead, that's the game. This is a really bad game, actually. It's really bad. It was a pretty okay game, but pretty bad analysis, so hopefully the next one will be better, because this game was really boring, kind of, but it was also weird. So, until next